Hello everybody, it's the Alco Diesel guy with another Will It Run for you. In this case, this is a very nosy b23-7. Anybody? Anybody? It's a high-nose locomotive. I mean, you're killing me, folks. You're killing me, folks. Anywho, without further ado, let's get right into it. This is a high-nose Norfolk Southern b23-7. Again, the Norfolk Southern was kind of insistent upon the high noses. The official word was that they wanted these for crash protection. The high nose was supposed to prevent that. That's apparently when I spoke. I think it was a crew member that we used to work for the Norfolk Southern back in the day said that it was more that they could make it cheaper, make it easier to operate them in both directions to save money in that regard. Whatever the case, those are the two possible reasons for this. Whatever the case, these engines were high noses. They would eventually be rebuilt for the most part to low nose engine status because high nose reduces visibility and is not cool for the current time. So looking at it, we can see immediately that this is not in the greatest shape of its life. To start with, it doesn't have a cab number. And as you saw, the box I should mention, you probably saw this in the beginning of the video, too late to go back now, but it's missing the top. And again, here's the box itself, which indicates it does not have a number. This is a DCC ready engine. It is not DCC equipped. And yeah, it really doesn't have much going for it at all. It looks very clearly, because of the fact it was run without a number on it, that this is most like a kid's toy. The other reason why I suggest that, in addition to the fact that there are two horns on these models, because that's how these engines were set up from the Norfolk Southern. They had a horn on either end of on either hood, which is missing in this case. At least I thought there were two horns on there. Anyway, the other thing that's also missing is the firecracker antenna, which would have been on the top here. Again, making this engine very notorious to handle because it's very easy to break those parts off. Both parts, or rather all three of those parts, are missing. So as a result of that, this locomotive is not perfect, to put it mildly. Now, according to the seller that I bought this from, the engine does run, so let's go ahead and check and take a look and see if that is the case. Now, again, it's an analog engine, but just to be on the safe side, because I have my DCC system plugged in, I'm just going to turn it on and see if we get the infamous buzz of death. Wait for it. Yep. So it's very clearly, it is, in fact, DCC ready, not equipped. So I'm going to go ahead and pull this plug out here. One of the things I like about Easy Track is it's very easy to connect and disconnect anything. I'm going to grab my old analog power pack, plug that in. A second, folks, while I do so. And we're going to go test this on analog power to see if it will run. This engine was not an expensive locomotive, as you can probably guess. It's essentially all this thing had going for it in its eBay auction that I bought it from. I think I paid just about $40 for it. That's dirt cheap for a locomotive these days, especially one that runs, even if the detail parts are missing. This is also a pretty rare model, so quite a novelty to find one of these up for sale. Okay, let's try this. I know it's not going to smoke, so let's turn the power on, and there it goes. Let me actually pop you guys out to a... Here, Buzzy's active again. Yes, I'm still using Buzzy. I haven't replaced him yet, but I'm going to have to. I hesitated there. The track here on my workbench isn't in the greatest shape. It probably needs to get cleaned. Let run its wheels a little bit, maybe clean some of the dirt off of it. Actually runs really well, which is a shame. It's just too bad the detail parts are not on it. And so there you go. This is clearly in good shape enough to run. So that's something for it, but fortunately it doesn't have much else going for it. Now, here's the deal behind this locomotive. I bought this not to rebuild into a model that I'm going to use on my layout because it needs too much work. It needs the horns, which I think are supposed to be on both sides. It needs the firecracker antenna, and then on top of that, it doesn't even have a number assigned to it. So it has nothing going for it whatsoever. It's got nothing, if you will. So as a result of that, it doesn't have the value to really make me want to, or rather, any reason for me to really want to go after it, because even if I get this up, and even if I get this looking perfectly, I'm still going to have to somehow get a number on this, and I am terrible with those things. So yeah, I'm hemming and hawing what to do with it. I essentially bought this as a part source because I have another engine like this on bid right now, which I'm hoping I will win. And if I do, I can go ahead and basically take this chassis and use it to repower that locomotive, which is what I'm thinking of doing. In fact, it is a high-nose engine just like this one. The other thing I'm tempted to do now, since it does run so well, is to maybe put a decoder in this one, or rather get a horn for it, which I have on order, and the firecracker antenna. I have to find out where that antenna goes, because I just don't see where it would have gone on here. I'm not sure if that's factory standard. Maybe I should pull my other engine out that I have that's in good shape. Hold on a second, folks. I'll go grab that, and let me put this back in here before I damage anything. So here is number 4002, which is another high nose B23-7. I believe this was used when I got it. I think the seller told me he put a decoder in it. I haven't really gotten to it yet. I'm just pulling it apart right now so I can take a good look at it. So let's see here. Does it have the firecracker antenna? No, it doesn't. Let's kind of assume the configuration is as is. So it looks like all I would have to do is put the horn on it. That makes me more tempted to work on this engine at this point. Yeah, because all it has is the single horn. I did see one of these with a horn on both sides. I'm not sure if that's realistic or not, and with the firecracker on it. This doesn't have that. But I'm thinking, yeah, that does not look as bad as I thought it was. So now I'm actually tempted to do more work on this than it actually has right now, than I was actually going to for the time being. Not ready to work on this engine just yet. As I'll eventually get to once I'm ready to put a decoder in it. Because I first want to see about this project, whether it comes in or not. But anywho, yep, so I now know this engine works. But I'm now kind of torn. I was literally going to, no pun intended, I was literally going to tear this thing apart. Again, no pun intended. But now that I see it works, I'm wondering what to do with it. I could put a number on it, but I guess I'm really terrible with arts. I don't know how I would do that. Decaling I've tried a million times, but I managed to mess it up. I'm just terrible with anything to do with art. I'm excellent with mechanics. Some things like putting railings back on I'm okay with, but that's basically it. I've tried to assemble models, those like modeling kits. And put it this way, as I'm making this video, I tried to put together an Overland Models dual stall factory. Their large dual stall factory for N scale. And, oh god, I made a complete hash of it. It really was a mess. And I just basically used a lot of glue and accomplished nothing more than getting myself covered with glue and develop, and unfortunately, basically wasting it all because it wouldn't stick anymore when at the time it was done, and basically getting no further along than I was after I started working on it, and wasting about 4 hours of my day on that project. So anywho, I'm gonna have to think about what I do with this thing. Leave a comment if you think I should keep this engine. I mean, pardon me, well, I'm going to keep the engine. Leave a comment whether you think I should turn this into a parts engine, whether I should put a decal on it, put a horn on it, because it looks like it wouldn't take much to get into service. Or if you happen to know some easy way I can get numbers for this thing. I'm almost tempted to try writing the numbers in, even though my handwriting is terrible, and just like make it look like an engine that maybe was bought by a leasing company or bought by a company secondhand, you know, cross out the Norfolk Southern, and just do a patch job on it, make it look like maybe a custom locomotive, and just write my own number in there, make it look really like a low-end model locomotive that was put together. Yeah. But anyway, leave it in the comments as to what I should do with this thing. Should I do what I'm saying? Should I get rid of it? Well, not get rid of it. I wouldn't get rid of it. Should I turn it into, I should say turn it into a parts supply? Should I keep the engine like it is and run it like it is? Should I do what I was going to do and swap the chassis out with another engine? Basically, yeah, whichever of those options you think I should do. Anywho, that's going to do it for this video. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up. If not, thumbs down. Please like and subscribe. And as always, keep the metal side down.